Hi, I'm Jane M. Mason from Watching Paint Dry, LLC. This is a little mini video, and in this mini video, I'm going to talk to you about painting little tiny paintings. Now, why would I paint little paintings? Sometimes just to get my artistic juices flowing, sometimes for a very specific reason. For example, this little painting, which was painted at The Hague in the Netherlands, I had it designed as a little note card so I could send it as a thank you note for somebody. I do a lot of architectural little paintings. This one that was painted in the Soulard district in St. Louis was painted with a group of friends. We were painting together and looking at the architectural details. This one could be used as a postcard or as a little mini painting. It's kind of nice as a hostess gift, or someone who lives in an apartment, to give them just a little painting. They can have it framed and it doesn't take up much space. There's usually room in almost every environment for a painting this small. This is another one in Soulard, and I was attracted by not only the historical buildings, but by the interesting colors on the buildings. So this was one, again, with architectural detail. In this one I put my name and the name of the painting at the bottom. Again, could be used as a postcard, or could be used as a little thank you note, or a little painting. This one was painted in Ireland, and I painted in the center of a bigger sheet. If I was going to frame it, I would take some of this white off. Sometimes, as you know, if you've been following my videos, I make my own shapes in my paintings. So this is just something I decided this was the right shape for this painting. In addition to the architectural ones, I often look at trying to paint ones that have flowers or vegetation in them. Sometimes it's to practice different techniques, and again, sometimes it's just to get myself flowing in what I want to do. This particular painting, looking at palms, I was working a lot of negative space. So as we can see, these ferns in the foreground, these palms in the foreground, those are ones that are really in focus. The ones in the background, or the dark space in the background, that's the negative space. Getting your mind wrapped around negative space can be kind of tricky. So like I said, we'll discuss that in another video. Here's another one where I was working not only on negative space, but to see if I could do a fern. So this is a fern in a little pot. This one I was working on trying to see how I could bleed colors and quickly suggest some flowers, probably irises, and then also suggest the stems in the vase as well as some water in the vase. A very wet on wet, watery painting. This one, again, it's a little pot of flowers. I was also working on what we call lost and found edges. This is a hard edge on this side. As you can see on this side where the light is hitting the pot, you really don't see the edge. Your mind fills it in. Do you see there's really not the finished edge on the platter that you would expect to see? And then I was practicing with shadows too. Shadows can have a lot of great colors in them. They don't have to be a gray or a dull color. So I tend to, as you'll know as you look at my paintings, I tend to put a lot of colors in the shadows. One other little painting I have here was just an abundance of flowers around a fountain. These brush strokes that you can see here that I call like an eyelash stroke. It's a very handy stroke for painting flowers. If you study John Singer Sargent's paintings, you'll notice he frequently uses this stroke, which I call a brush stroke, the eyelash stroke, and he will often use it in trees or in flowers. So this was another painting I just did to convey some flowers. What I'm going to show you is to look back a little bit at some of these, like these palm paintings or the fern paintings, and it's one of the opportunities to use a flat brush. Flat brushes can be pretty fun, and I find that they're often underused. The paper that I'm using for this is a block. The thing about a block that's nice is that the paper is glued on the side. So this pad of paper all sticks together. So while I'm painting on it, I don't have to worry about taping my painting down, or I don't have to worry about the wind because it's on a very stiff cardboard back. And also, as you can see, there's a space in the glue, and this is where you would insert. I sometimes use a offset frosting spreader, so something that's not too sharp because you can dig into the paper too, but something that you can just stick in there and pull the paper off when you're done with the painting. So this is an arches block, and what we're going to talk about is the flat brush. And a flat brush, literally, as compared to a round brush, Here's a round brush, and I'll put it against the paper so you can see them more easily. A round brush, as you can see, it has a wider belly and it comes to a point. A flat brush, as you can see, it's flat. And as I turn it to the side, you can see it's flat, where the round brush is round all the way around. This is another round brush. This round brush is synthetic, and I actually like these also because these synthetic round brushes with the plastic handle have this neat sharp, well, it's sharper. It's not sharp, it's sharper, but you can use it to dig into when we're painting. And I might show you how to do that too. So let's just say I'll take this flat brush and I will grab a little bit of paint, and I'm going to grab a little bit of darker on one side and lighter on another side. So here I might just put a few just of the, if this were a palm, if you can imagine, I'm going to grab a little bit more darker blue. The nice thing about the flat brush is that it's making it not look too overly fussy. It's not like I've deliberated so much. It has kind of a natural feel. I'm going to make this even darker here. If you have a dark green and you want to make it darker, pulling in a purple is nice. A purple is going to be the complementary color, and by using that you can get almost to a black. Okay, so we'll do a palm. Now I might take my other flat brush, which is a little bit smaller as you saw before, and add a little bit of lighter color. I still want it green, so I'm mixing a green with some yellow, and so I might put just some more color in the background here. Now we'll let this dry a little bit, and then I can show you how I might do a little bit of the negative space too. But you can see how fun it is to be using a flat brush, because it really gives you a natural look without fussing too much over the individual fronds of a palm or a fern. And on this one, I think I'll go ahead and put some diagonal or horizontal strokes too along the fern's edge. I mean, I could just paint with a flat brush all day. It's just really fun. There you go. If I were going to do a negative painting here, and I'll just kind of get started. Here's a really dark color. I would come in here perhaps with a dark color. I'd need to wait for it to dry, so I'm rushing it a little bit, but I'll come in here with a dark color. And you see how I'm painting around what's in the foreground? What's in the foreground is the positive space. What I'm painting is the negative space. And to make sure that I end up with a nice smooth outside edge, I'm going to quickly add a bunch of water here. Sometimes in watercolor you have to move really fast, like now. So, and I might actually put in enough so that it'll drip off my paper, which is kind of a cool look. And add enough water to break the surface tension right at that edge. Oh, it's not, Sometimes it's so persnickety and is not going to, so what I'll do is I'll just shake it. And that'll get it going. So you can see how the negative space, and then who knows, maybe here I'll come in with the negative space and paint a lighter green. Maybe this now becomes my negative space. I'm covering these up just for fun. But can you see how I have this, I'll turn it up so you can see it this way. I have this fern that I made, or this palm, and then I added that dark blue behind it, which really makes the palm come forward, and you see the background behind it. But then adding a lot of water, I was able to make sure I didn't have any hard edges as I was moving away from the palm. So using a flat brush, you were able to see how I could easily make these palms and fronds and ferns, and then add a little bit of the dark in the background to deal with some negative space. So I love painting these little paintings. They don't take very long, and they are a way to just kind of play around and stretch your imagination. So thanks for joining me. I'm Jane M. Mason.